Hey everybody, this is Mark Marcus. I'm here with Infrastructure Guides, and I am on the line right now with Fred Hamilton from FiberLight.
Hi, everyone, and thanks, Mark.
So, Fred is going to be discussing pretty much giving us an overview of FiberLight and their network and what they provide. So, this is part of our series of the carrier spotlights that we've been showing pretty much on the website. And what we're going to be doing today is kind of diving a little bit deeper into FiberLight, which has been around for a while. It's a very kind of expanding, new up and coming network right now that we've seen, we identified. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Fred so he could go ahead and start with the presentation, and we'll go ahead and take it from there. Go ahead, Fred.
Thanks, Mark. Hopefully, can Mark and everyone see my screen by chance?
Yes, we could definitely see your screen. Yes.
Okay, just a little bit about FiberLight. Been around over 20 years now. So one of the things that really differentiates us from all the other providers is going to be our diversity. The one thing that we have is, when it comes to these days, enterprise, commercial business, public sector, whatever it may be, needs to have diversity. From the cable codes, the local exchange providers, and so on. One thing that we have is, the diversity. Typically, most of the time, will be on the other side of the road from the cable code or the LECs, which is going to help out for those organizations that need that diversity. And also, what we have really separates us is going to be the big thing is the number of fiber count strands we have in the ground. So what that means to the end user is going to be, as we progress with more and more people eating more and more bandwidth, is going to be dark fiber, up to 100 gig, 200 gig fiber. So we'll see those things happen in the next few years. Those are just two real key factors, Mark, that really differentiate us.
Good deal. And what I've noticed right now is that you're showing up 4 markets that you have there. One is Maryland, Virginia, you have Texas, you have Tampa, you have Atlanta. Out of those 4 pretty much cities, which one would you say you were more dominant in?
Well, definitely, Mark, will be Texas. We have, like you mentioned, good fiber assets in the DC, Northern Virginia area. We have Tampa, which is a good market for us, Alpharetta, Atlanta area, but by far, it's going to be Texas. We've got fiber in places no one else does. You can see we have things in the Panhandle. You can see things we have in South Texas, Northeast Texas, and mainly a lot in West Texas. Hardly anyone kind of builds out in West Texas. For anybody that's oil and gas, we are a great fit, and there's no one else out there. A lot of people have to either use microwave or some type of wireless, infrastructure for that. With us, we've got cable. We've got fiber all along the pass, the major pass. So, and some laterals, also in those areas.
Excellent. Is that if we were to dig deeper into FiberLight and the network, what would you say would be the most common product that you actually would deliver? Would it be DIA? Would it be transport layer 2 wave or a type of EVPL type circuit? And do you traditionally serve possibly data centers?
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing I would say maybe 3 to 4 years ago, we were more DIA centric. I would say the last couple of years, things have really changed. We're getting a lot of EVPL, point-to-point Ethernet layer 2. And when you mention data centers, we're in over 140 data centers, throughout the U.S. And what I'm seeing more and more of, Mark, these days is more data center than anything. I'm looking now, a few years ago, I was looking at 500 meg, 1 gig. Most of my requests now are for EVPL from data center, or from corporate office to data center is 5 to 10 gig. We're finding more and more people are getting more on the point-to-point. More people, I think, Mark, also are going to data centers versus having any type of infrastructure and any type of equipment in their premises. So I think that's one of the big differences. We're seeing more point-to-point now.
Excellent. Yeah. And you know what, Fred, I got to tell you, I appreciate answering those types of questions because it's always good when I get to talk to somebody and have an interview with somebody and they actually understand the terminology and just flows out really well. So it just shows me that, the people that I've spoken to over a period of time from FiberLight has continually been growing as a company. Where would you see pretty much, do you see yourself expanding into any other new markets? Because from last I heard too, there were some changes in the company, some positive changes in the company maybe. And what I was getting excited about was just to hear about the new expansion that are going to take place with FiberLight.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some things that I'm not privy to yet, but yeah, there will be some expansion, possible acquisition. I know we're looking at some assets in the Midwest and also in the South again, or Southeast. So more to come on that. I mean, one thing I guess I probably should have mentioned, about 5 months ago, we were acquired by Morrison & Company out of New Zealand. So, their whole thing, this is the first venture they've done in the United States with a telecom provider. So they're excited about this, and it really helps us in terms of how we're going to grow this footprint, organically and also by acquisition. So more to come on that. I can't promise anything in next quarter or next quarter or first quarter, but those are definitely in the books right now, looking at.
So Fred, since you've been with FiberLight, and I've been really excited to ask this question, and I've come across FiberLight a lot at the conferences, pretty much at ITW, Metro Connect. I mean, you guys are really active in the industry. What do you guys see as far as movement in the AI, hyper, the whole clustering of it? Have you seen any kind of movement in that sort of space at all?
We've seen some. We've dipped our toes a little bit into it. I don't have a whole lot of good examples I can talk to you about right now when it comes to that. I mean, we do a lot when it comes to a lot of Bitcoin. So those are the kind of things we're looking at. And the reason we're looking at those and they're looking at us is because what I kind of mentioned earlier was, these companies need really big bandwidth. I think I talked about it earlier. We were saying 100 meg when I first got into this years and years ago. Now we're talking about 10 gig and now 100 gig, 400 gigs. So what's next, right? So I think that's an exactly good point you talked about when it comes to AI. I mean, there's going to be more and more bandwidth needed for like autonomous vehicles. I mean, think about that. I mean, that's on the forefront, right?
It's especially the whole edge side of things, and on how it's really needing. Another thing that I understand that FiberLight does is in your services. Would you guys say that you'd be more open and advantageous to offering services down to from like a layer 1 type scenario, like pretty much a really raw dark fiber scenario?
Sure. Yeah, we can go from that's kind of on our sweet spots. Again, it's going to be dark fiber. If they want 2 strands of dark fiber from Filigree to 56 Marietta in Atlanta.
Wow, that's good. That's good.
It's all based on mileage, right? So of course, the less mileage, the better it's going to be for the pricing wise. But I mean, we have dark fiber we can offer in all of our areas. So you talked about the layers. We have a huge wave network in Texas that we can offer. From, it doesn't matter, from Austin to Houston, Houston to Dallas, Dallas to Austin, whatever it may be. We've got all those data centers connected for layer 1 for wave. And of course, they're all connected to the same thing for our layer 2 or Ethernet product.
That's good to know that, especially when, for the data center operators out there, because the toughest thing is that, and also from a wholesale route too, is if I was pretty much an ISP and I went to FiberLight and I said, hey, look, I needed to get this tower pretty much connected to this data center. But Fred, I really need to get a hold of, I want dark fiber because I want to put my own waves on it. And that's something that you guys are completely open to and able to offer.
Absolutely. Probably what it really has been, one of the foundations for this company has been our ability to work with a lot of WISP, a lot of these areas, and also a lot of the mobile providers. Like, a lot of people don't realize you have whether it's T-Mobile, Verizon, whoever, AT&T, everyone has a mobile device. They don't realize that those towers are still connected via fiber or some type of connectivity. Right? Yeah. So that's been a huge growth for us. It's been a lot of the mobile operators out there.
Well, Fred, I really appreciate your time today, and we're crossing right around 10 minutes right now. And I'm really thankful for you to give us an explanation about FiberLight. And I would like to invite you on the show again to talk a little bit more about it, maybe a project you might have later on down the road. And from the viewing audience, I'd like to thank everybody out there. And thanks for joining us. Go ahead and hit like and subscribe if you like this content. And we appreciate you joining us. Have a great day.